Om Namo Bhagavate. Teya prabhasmisha shisurayaho pranava sarva vedeshu shabdake paurusham drishu rasaha taste aham I apsu in water Kaunteya O son of Kunti Prabha the light Asmi, I am Shashi Surayaho of the moon and the sun. Pranava, the three letters A, U, M. Sarva, in all. Vedeshu, the Vedas. Shabdaha, sound vibration. Ke in the ether, Paurusham ability, Nrishu in men. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Abhayacharana Ravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. O son of Kunti, I am the taste of water, the light of the sun and the moon, the syllable Om in the Vedic mantras. I am the sound in ether and ability in man. Purport. This verse explains how the Lord is all-pervasive by His diverse material and spiritual energies. The Supreme Lord can be preliminarily perceived by His different energies, and in this way He is realized impersonally. As the demigod in the sun is a person and is perceived by His all-pervading energy, the sunshine, so the Lord, although in His eternal abode, is perceived by His all-pervading diffusive energies. The taste of water is the active principle of water. No one likes to drink seawater because the pure taste of water is mixed with salt. Attraction for water depends on the purity of the taste, and this pure taste is one of the energies of the Lord. The impersonalist perceives the presence of the Lord in water by its taste. And the personalist also glorifies the Lord for His kindly supplying tasty water to quench man's thirst. That is the way of perceiving the Supreme. Practically speaking, there is no conflict between personalism and impersonalism. One who knows God knows that the impersonal conception and personal conception are simultaneously present in everything, and that there is no contradiction. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya established his sublime doctrine, Achintya Bheda and Abheda Tattva, simultaneous oneness and difference. The light of the sun and the moon is also originally emanating from the Brahmajyoti, which is the impersonal effulgence of the Lord. And Pranava, or the Omkara, transcendental sound, in the beginning of every Vedic hymn, addresses the Supreme Lord. Because the impersonalists are very much afraid of addressing the Supreme Lord Krishna by His innumerable names, they prefer to vibrate the transcendental sound Omkara. But they do not realize that Omkara is the sound representation of Krishna. The jurisdiction of Krishna consciousness extends everywhere, and one who knows Krishna consciousness is blessed. Those who do not know Krishna are in illusion, and so knowledge of Krishna is liberation, and ignorance of Him is bondage. O son of Kunti, I am the taste of water, the light of the sun and the moon, the syllable Om in the Vedic mantras. I am the sound in ether and ability in man. Makam karoti vachalam pangum langeti grim yat kripat amahavande Shri Gurun Dinatarinam. Mama Gyanati Milandasya Gyanam Janashlakya Chakshur Militamina Tasmai Shri Guruvain Maha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adigor Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So there are different opinions about God. There are many people who don't even believe in God. When we hear that somebody says, I don't believe in God, actually that means, just to let you know, it means that he wants to be God. He or she, we all, of course. Anyway, that's another topic. So we should know when.
I know it sounds nice, but
Okay, when somebody says there is no God, we should know he wants to take his position. He wants to be the enjoyer, the controller, and the best friend of all living entities. This is what Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, Bhoktaram yagatapasam, sarva lokamaheshwaram, suhridam sarva bhutanam, gyatpamam shanti mrichati. So many people don't accept God. And some people, although they believe in God, they have their own opinion about Him, which is not based on the Shastra, but is based on their own speculations, or is partially based on Shastra. As Srila Prabhupada explains here in the purport, there is no real contradiction between personalism and impersonalism. So some of these people, they say that God is completely transcendental. That means He's beyond this material world and He's not in any way in contact with matter, and He's not present in this material universe in any way, in any capacity. So the motive behind this theory could be, if we are charitably disposed, could be that these people, they want to preserve the exalted nature of God. They don't want to mix the holy nature of God with this temporary, mundane, material world. So they want to be sure that God is completely pure, absolute. But often the reason is for this theory, which by the way is called deism. God is completely transcendent, and He's not immanent at all in the creation. So the reason also, more often I think, is that these people, they want to separate God from His creation, and they want to put Him somewhere up there in heaven, and this leaves this material world for us to enjoy. Nominally they accept there is God, He is the creator, He gave the rules, the laws, but now he has his own thing, or he doesn't care about us. And who is the Lord and the Master? And the enjoyer? That's us. Some of these people, they say that, God is the creator of heaven, and the spiritual world, if they have at all idea about spiritual world. And the creator of this material world is the enemy of God. And He's in control. This is another variation of this theory. So there are other people who say that this is one extreme, the deism. There are other people, they are pantheists. They say that the universe is God. God doesn't have any separate, independent existence beyond this world, and the world is God. So in other words, God has He has merged with everything, and He became everything. So these are the two extremes. And the Vedic concept of God is actually, if we look in the dictionary, theism, theistic conception of God, means that the Lord is also at the same time transcendent and also immanent. He is all-pervading, as Srila Prabhupada explains here, and as Krishna himself declares in this verse, he is all-pervading everywhere by his energy, spiritual and material, and at the same time he is above in the spiritual world in Goloka Vrindavana, enjoying with his loving devotees there. So Krishna is, as we know from Brahma Samhita, he is in the spiritual world because he is the supreme enjoyer and he wants to enjoy the love of his devotees, and he gives them enjoyment also. But because he is very merciful also, he is supremely merciful, he is also all-pervading. Why? In the material world. Why? Because he wants to give us endless, eternal opportunity to surrender to him. Although we have been in denial of, as people sometimes they like to say, you're in denial of reality. So we have been in denial of supreme reality. We have been ignoring God since time immemorial practically. Still He is ready to reciprocate with us. So when we come in the temple, and Krishna is always smiling, and Srimati Radharani is always giving blessings, no matter what we have done and how long we have been ignoring them. So in the Vedas, this is confirmed. It is stated there that there are these terms Tripad Vibhuti and Ekapad Vibhuti. Tripad Vibhuti means the three quarter of the creation is in the spiritual world, and 1/4 is actually is the material world. So God has both. He's operating everywhere. Of course, we know that our goal is Krishna Prema. We want to develop to remember and to develop our pure love for Bhagavan, Shri Krishna. But as Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita, the best is to fix the mind completely in Krishna, to absorb ourselves in Krishna. But this is very difficult to do if you don't love somebody, to think always about him or her. It's very easy if you're in love with somebody, then everything reminds you about this person. But if you don't have this love, you can try by yoga, by meditation, we can try to force the mind to think about Krishna, but it is very, very hard. So therefore, Krishna explains in this verse that He is the taste of the water, the light of the sun and the moon. And in the next verse, Krishna explains that I'm the original fragrance of the earth. I'm the heat in fire. I'm the life of all that lives, and I'm the parenthesis of all aesthetics. So Krishna is the essence in everything. Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport, He's the active principle that quench in water, which quenches our thirst. It is not automatic that water will quench our thirst. If Krishna is not present there, the water will be useless. Just like it is not automatic that when we sleep, we will be refreshed in the morning. It's not automatic. Krishna is the essence of rest also. He actually, just like we have to charge our phones, in the same way, the soul needs to be recharged. And this happens at night, if Krishna is merciful. So Krishna is the essence in everything. And since we don't see Krishna everywhere, because this, of course, we see Krishna in the temple. If we are more Krishna conscious, we see him in the pages of Bhagavatam, or when we take prasadam, when we see the devotees, spiritual master, etc. Usually we don't, however, see the Lord everywhere in our life. So what we see matter. We see material elements. So Krishna is teaching us how, on our level of spiritual advancement, we can be always Krishna conscious. We can be Krishna conscious if we have taste for direct devotional service. For example, these 5 most potent forms of bhakti. But we can think, you can consider how much of our time, 24 hours, how much of these 24 hours is engaged in direct devotional service, hearing, chanting, listening Bhagavatam, taking prasadam, worshipping the deity, serving the devotees. So let's say we chant 2 hours, we take prasadam 1 hour. Then let's say we attend Mangalarti, this is another, let's say, 30, 40 minutes. Then we read Bhagavatam. These are 5, 6 hours. Then we sleep for 7 hours. These are 12 hours. So what about the rest of these 12 hours? We have to, Krishna Mahaprabhu also insists that we have to remember Krishna all the time. Kirtanya Sadahari, we have to, these are the 2 rules, the main rules of bhakti, right? Smartavya satatam Vishnur, vismartavyo na jatuchit. We have to remember Krishna and never, always remember Krishna, never forget him. So how do we do this if we are engaged only, let's say, 5, 6 hours in direct devotional service? That means the rest of the day, we should see how it is connected to Krishna. Obviously, it is not direct because we have other duties. We have to maintain our families. We have to do our job, business, whatever we're doing. So we have to see how this part of the day is connected to Krishna. We cannot just say, we cannot just draw a line and say, Krishna, you're not welcome beyond this line. This is my private life. I have 5, 6 hours per day for you. I perform my sadhana, I chant my rounds, and you better be happy that I'm doing this. And for the rest of the day, I gotta be practical. I have to put food on the table. I have to make money. So I cannot just surrender completely right now, live in the temple and just the whole day chant and distribute books and take prasadam. So how we can connect the rest of the day to Krishna? So we have to see, because if we don't connect this to Krishna, it is already connected to Krishna because everything is originates from the Lord and everything is His energy. So, but we are not aware necessarily all the time. So we have to see how everything is connected to Krishna. So, for example, our job, or if we do business, or if we are a lawyer or doctor or whatever we are, how is this connected to Krishna? If we have a job and we get a paycheck, one of the easiest way to connect this to Krishna is by giving part of the fruits of our labor to Krishna. Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita, Karmani evadikaraste ma paleshu kadachana ma karma pala heturbur mate sangustva karmani. You have the right to perform your duty. Of course, duty is also what is our duty. It doesn't depend on our speculation. The duties are described in Shastra and are confirmed by the spiritual master. These are our duties. You cannot just manufacture our duties. So we have so we have the right to perform our duties, but we are not entitled to the results. They are not ours. We have to give at least part of these results to the Lord, to Krishna. So this is very easy, practical way to connect. Also, our job, we have to consider what are the rules that govern our job, our duty. Who gave these rules? If we want to be successful in any type of job, we have to follow certain rules. Who gave these rules? I don't know if you noticed, but all successful people in this material world, even those who are successful in the material field, if they want to be, they're successful because they follow directly or indirectly, consciously or unconsciously or half-consciously, they follow the rules of God. Otherwise, they cannot be successful. This is God's world, and if you want to be successful, you have to follow His rules. So we have to see what are the rules that we follow and who gave these rules. Also, in family life, who gave the rules for family life? Who established these positions of husband, of wife, children, who explained where is all this explained and how all this works properly. Krishna gave and explain this position. This is called, this is Varnashrama, and of course in Srila Prabhupada's books this is also explained. What is a husband, what is a wife, what is the inherent nature in this position, and how do we perform our duties. These are just like roles we have to play, and the script is already written, and we have to play our role properly. And if you do this, then we have successful material life. Of course, as much as it is possible to be successful in the material world, there will be always dukkha lama shashvatam, Krishna explains. Anitya asukam lokam. It's anyway place of misery, but these miseries can be mitigated to big extent, or at least to some extent, if we follow our duties properly, in connection to Krishna. Because Varnashrama takes care for these things, for the material life, and it can be connected to Krishna. So, there are many things that we are interested in, obviously, in this material world. We have to see what are those things, to identify them, and to see how they are connected to Krishna, to see Krishna in them. Some people like to drive powerful, very fast cars. So, what is this that they are attracted to? The soul is obviously spiritual. It, by definition, cannot be attracted to matter. So there is something inside that is attractive. What is this? The principle that is built inside, this feeling of control over something very powerful, or the childness in the child, and people like to have children. So what is this that is attractive in a child? It's always Krishna. Krishna is all pervading, and his 6 opulences are everywhere around us: beauty, knowledge, renunciation, strength, wealth. So whenever we see this opulence, we are attracted to them. But we have to see that Krishna is behind everything. And in this way, Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, he says, "I'm the adventure." People don't like to be. Nobody likes boring life. People want to have some fun. Krishna is the adventure. Krishna in Bhagavad Gita explains that all majestic, beautiful, powerful, attractive things in this material, objects in this material world, they are just spark of his splendor, of his opulence. So if we are so attracted to something material, how much, which just sparks, just minute part of Krishna's beauty and opulence, how much more attractive is the source of all this? So this we have to consider while we perform our duties and trying to work out our material attachments. At one point, we should reach the stage, just like these birds. They are given as an example sometimes in Shastra. I forgot Chakravakas or Chakoras. The birds that they drink water only. They drink only rain cloud water. They don't drink normal water. So they're waiting until there is rain, and only then they drink water. At one point, we have to reach this stage where we will say, "I will enjoy only in devotional service. I won't anymore depend on material, so-called sense gratification to feel the emptiness in my heart." We have to meditate when this day will come. One devotee once said that at one point we should be satisfied just by sitting and reading Srimad Bhagavatam. That's it. That's all our happiness in life. We don't require anything else. Just like these yogis, when they go to some cave in the Himalayas and they want to learn how to breathe properly, so that means they stop the breathing. They ingoing and outgoing breathing there. They do some techniques. So some of them they when they're very determined, they block, they enter, and they get some of their friends to block the entrance so that they cannot get out anymore. And either they will learn how to breathe or not to breathe, or they will die. So this stage, we have to have desire to reach this stage in bhakti, to become finally serious about our spiritual life, and to be satisfied only by devotion service. Everything in Bhagavad Gita, all this knowledge, is meant to be practically applied. It is not, Srila Prabhupada says, it is not meant for the recreation of armchair speculators. The Vedas are meant to build a character, to advance in devotional service. So everything that we learn from studying Bhagavad Gita, from associating with devotees, it is meant to be applied in our life, in our practical life. It is not just for our to satisfy our speculative tendencies. So we see that Krishna delivers in Bhagavad Gita the perfect knowledge, and there is the perfect example how this knowledge is applied. So Krishna gives the perfect knowledge, Arjuna shows the perfect example how to apply this knowledge and what is the result of this knowledge. So in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna doesn't want to fight because he doesn't have faith in Krishna's instructions, right? Krishna encourages Arjuna to fight, and Arjuna says, you want me to fight Govinda and Madhava. Arjuna chants the holy names of Krishna, oh Govinda or Madhava. Govinda means the person who gives pleasure to the senses and to the cows. And Madhava means the husband of the goddess of fortune. Govinda, Madhava, you want me to fight? You are meant to give me pleasure, and you want me to fight, which will give me ultimately unhappiness. I'll have to suffer because of your instructions. I don't see how any happiness will come about. So Arjuna doesn't have faith, and he doesn't want to perform his duties. Parantapa, the chastiser of the enemies, doesn't want to chastise the enemies. And the whole Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is trying to convince Arjuna to fight. That means Krishna wants to restore his faith. And at the end of Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna is ready to fight. So when we have firm faith, and how is defined, how the faith is defined, Mahaprabhu defines faith as Shraddha, Shabda Vishwas, Kahe Sudrida Nishchaya, Krishna Bhakti, Koilu, Sarva Karma Kritta Hoya. The firm conviction that just by executing devotional service, all subsidiary activities will be performed is called Shraddha or faith. So only devotional service can actually satisfy the soul. And not just devotional service, only pure unalloyed devotional service can satisfy completely the soul. Ahaitu kya pratihata yatma suprasidati. This faith, the goal of studying Bhagavad Gita is to acquire this faith. And on the basis of this faith, we engage in devotional service. And then we please the Lord and we attain the goal of life, pure love for Krishna. So we have to get to this point of pure faith, of firm faith. And we have to understand that the ultimate criteria of proper and improper is what pleases Krishna, and improper is what is displeasing for Krishna. This is the ultimate truth. And just like the acharyas explained that there are different symptoms of surrender to the Lord. Anukulasya varjanam, anikulasya sankapa pratikulasya varjanam. We have to accept everything that is favorable for our devotion service and reject everything that is unfavorable. Of course, this cannot happen immediately. Therefore, Krishna explains in this verse, we have to start from somewhere. If we want to go from here to Mayapur, for example, we have to know where are we right now. Otherwise, our journey will be unsuccessful. If we think that we are not in New York, but we are in Delhi, we think, oh, I'm actually very close to Mayapur. That means we are not aware of our position. So that means we think that we are very advanced. If we're not, but we have to know that we are not so advanced. And if we're not so advanced, this is where we start. When we drink water, we think about Krishna. Krishna is the taste of water. When we see the sun and the moon, we think about Krishna. Even our different stages of consciousness are all Krishna, his energies. There are 4 stages of consciousness, 3 are commonly known. Jagrata means the wakeful stage, when we awake. Svapna means when we are dreaming. And Shushupti means when we are in deep sleep without dreaming. And in this stage, this is when, as we mentioned in the beginning, this is when the Lord, literally, Paramatma, embraces the soul and surcharges with energy the soul. Therefore, when people don't get, for a long time, this deep sleep, they get problems with their health. So we are dependent on the Lord for our proper resting. This is what Acharyas explained. When the moon is the moonshine, the moon rays are soothing, and they pacify the mind, and then we can take rest. And when the sun rises, then this energizes the body, and then we can be active. So these are all. So all these stages are of the consciousness. And the 4th one is called Turiya. That means the transcendental stage. The Lord is in this stage of consciousness, which is beyond all these 3 stages, because they are all ultimately dreaming. So the Lord is all these stages. So when we go to sleep, we are in contact with the Lord. When we are awake, this is another stage of consciousness. So we are always in contact with the Lord. We just have to be conscious and aware of this. And in this way we can gradually advance. But we have to start from our own position. And if this is our position, we have to start from here. We shouldn't think that we are more advanced than we are. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. You have any questions or comments? Or
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I just want to say thank you very much for giving class. I think what's really nice about Krishna is that he is all attractive. So it's nice that we all can have a starting point as far as drinking water. That's another thing we all do, you know? We all drink water, so we all have that first step that we can all take. What do you suggest to be the second step?
Maharaj, what do you think?
A step after drinking water. Right. Well, that's Annamaya, you know. You have Annamaya and then Pranamaya, and on it goes. So the original concept is God realized through food, then God realized through prana, and on up, you know, Anandamaya finally. So these are more sophisticated understandings of God. God is something that can be realized, but it depends on the receptivity or the purity of the hearer or the person who's receiving. So if we're not so pure, or we're not so receptive, then, as the Bible calls it, we'll be through a glass darkly. We'll only have a dim understanding of God, or maybe a misunderstanding of God. But, gradually, through purification, that understanding of God will become more and more clear and more direct, So in the beginning, taste of water or taste of foodstuffs, and then gradually it becomes more sophisticated to the point where one can converse with God face to face, vis-a-vis, as they say. So one can converse with God, but that's an advanced stage.
Thank you, Maharaj. Granth Rachimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande. Oh, glories to the same devotees. Oh, glories to Srila.
Taking the mic.
Okay.